address the issue of inequality. So it is a huge concern, profound concern, in the words of the IMF. So how do you do AI right? How do you capitalize, leverage AI to develop new growth models? How can Asia tap AI to leapfrog and transition from fast follower to global leader? So I'm really privileged today to introduce to you our speakers. To my left, Pichai Naripthaphan, Minister of Commerce of Thailand. Angela Wang, Senior Vice President and Chief Investment Officer of Newsoft. We have Gan Kim Yong, Deputy Prime Minister of Singapore, the Lion City, my country. Milton Cheng, Global Chair of Baker McKenzie, and Martha Sazon, President and Chief Executive Officer of Gcash. Well represented by government as well as the private sector. Minister Gan, let's start with you. We know that when it comes to Singapore, Singapore leads in terms of AI preparedness. It tops the chart in Asia. It's number 2 globally. It has an AI strategy. It's putting money to it. Give us a sense of the key takeaway. What's crucial? What's key to that AI strategy in Singapore?
Thank you very much. I think AI, as you pointed out, is going to be a key game changer going forward. First, it's going to change the way we do business. It's going to change the way we work. And it's going to change the relationship between business partners. So I think there's a lot of promises. And sometimes, as we discussed earlier, it may also change the way we report news and how we manage this session. It could have been managed by AI as well. I think there are a lot of opportunities for AI. But as you also already pointed out, I think if AI is not done properly, and not just that it doesn't help change the game, but also, in fact, it could create problems. And therefore, it's important for us to have a framework on how we can develop AI properly with the guardrails and guidelines put in place to ensure that they are deployed properly and in a meaningful way and to be a force for good. So I think this is something that we will continue to discuss and evolve, because AI on its own is also evolving very quickly. So even the guidelines, the guardrails that we develop also have to continuously evolve together with the technology. So Singapore has introduced NAIS 2.0, that's National AI Strategy 2.0. And within that strategy, we have several aspects. On economics, we are looking at how we can encourage our businesses to adopt AI. So we are developing sectoral AI centers of excellence. For example, we introduced a manufacturing sector AI Center for Excellence to allow manufacturing plants to tap on the AI capability and to deploy AI. We also encourage specific companies to develop their own AI capability. But beyond economics, I think AI also has a role to play in the social side. For example, one of the key concerns that many of our countries have is aging. How do we look after seniors at home? And how do we make sure that their needs are met, catered for? Today, we sent our caregivers, our healthcare workers, our social workers to visit these seniors at home to make sure that they're all right. But in time to come with AI, you might be able to have interaction with the seniors to make sure that they are taken care of. If there's any issue, any problem, you send the physical person down to help the person. So I think this will allow you to scale the care services for seniors enormously. So I think it's going to change the way we do things, not just economically, which is a very important part of it, but also socially and our relationship with one another. But I need to emphasize that we need to continue to be very careful how we develop AI capability, how we deploy them. One particular area that we need to be mindful of is the transition impact, because AI also has a potential to displace jobs and workers and even businesses. And therefore, we need to manage the transition process by enabling our workers, giving them capability, training, upskilling, so that they are able, in a position to embrace AI and to benefit from the contribution that AI is going to bring. So I think you need to do this in a systematic way, in a holistic way, so as to cover all the angles of AI.
And Minister Pichai, what is the Thai way? Because I know you have a tagline in Thailand, AI
yes.
for all. You have a national strategy.
Yes, we do emphasize a lot on AI. You know, last year, people talk about AI. It's just like, oh, but it's going to be. But this year, it's going to be serious. It's going to be the real thing. In Thailand, luckily, that we have, you know, a lot of excess electricity left. we have like 16,000 megawatt. So whoever the big one comes and says, oh, wow, we have 16,000 megawatt left for electricity. And 29% is renewable. And we're going to add more. So they can start it right away. For Thailand, at this moment, we have like $8 billion in terms of the investment already. And we are looking for a huge investment with the UAE. UAE, they have a company called G42, and they're going to create like 5 gigawatt of AI hub and data center in UAE, which they cover all Europe. And they're going to link it all over the world. SoftBank planning on $100 billion in US. It's also data center and AI. And I think UAE also involved in that. And I think Thailand will be a part of that. They're planning on 1 gigawatt in Thailand, but we are working on the detail now. So it will cost like $50 billion, but we need to, gradually accumulating, and that's our big plan. But at this moment, Amazon, Google, all the big players already in Thailand, and NVIDIA just visit Thailand, not too long ago, and we are very committed, yeah. Because Thailand, we are in too much comfort zone for too long. 10 years of 1.9% growth rate is unacceptable. Now is the time for us to increase more. But not only AI that benefit us, we also are producer of many other components that with the AI and data centers, just like Western Digital. They expand the production in Thailand on the hard disk, because hard disk is part of the data center, right? And also Seagate also do the same. I talked to the CEO of the G42, he's Chinese, but he's become UAE citizen now. Yeah, his name is Peng Xiao. He's quite good, and what you say? He said that data center is just like crude. AI is just like refinery. You have more crude, you have good refinery, and it become intelligent center. In the past, you saw E equal to MC squared. Right? but now in the new world, E equal to I. E equal to intelligent. That's what they say. So we believe that Thailand are very committed to the AI era, and I think we need to build people to be intelligent so we can be like Singapore.
Can I cut in? Just to, I think Minister Pichai is very humble, and I must give credit to Thailand. Thailand, in fact, is leading our discussion and negotiation within ASEAN on the Digital Economy Framework Agreement. And Thailand is chairing the negotiation on DIFA. And DIFA is a starting point because DIFA allows ASEAN members to digitalize. And digitalization is the first step towards AI, wide application of AI. So I think Thailand is leading the charge, and not only within Thailand, but also helping to bring the whole of ASEAN forward in the digitalization and eventually towards the AI.
Milton, we talk about how AI needs to be inclusive. In a country like Thailand, for instance, SMEs in particular, right? They account for 40% of GDP, I think 99% of all companies. I mean, when you think about AI being inclusive, people-centered, how should it look like? What's key to that?
Well, I certainly resonate with what Minister Gan said about making sure that people are trained. But I think, as AI proliferates now, what we're hearing is coming up more and more in the discussion is exactly as you say, Haslinda, the people element. How can AI help humans flourish as opposed to AI just for the sake of technical efficiency or making lots of money for companies? So that covers a number of different aspects. Some of it is in training, and I'll touch a little bit about what we're doing at McKenzie later. But it's broader than that. It's also about the ethics of it, making sure that AI is there to support the values that the society that it serves has. Justice, fairness, looking out for the well-being of your population. making sure that, underserved population can have access to things, such as fintech. We'll hear from Martha later on as well. It is also about having that balance so that the human element is never forgotten. So not only to augment what people can do, but make sure that there's always a human element in the decision making, certainly for the key elements of it, but also that at the end of the day, humans can intervene if things are going off the rails. So some of the guardrails that you mentioned. For us at Baker McKenzie, we're an international law firm. We're in 40-something countries around the world. We're not at that scale able to be a leader from the front, but we are certainly trying to roll out AI. We build it into our tech stack across our business. And for example, Microsoft 365, we've got more licenses than pretty much any other law firm. But what we're trying to do is also make sure that we skill our people, because our belief is that AI will augment our lawyers, not replace them. But in order for it to augment, we need to train them across all fronts. We see that as part of our being responsible in our deployment and use of AI as well. So not just train them on complying with all the regulations firm-wide, also training them on particular tools, with particular business lines, even where, for example, we're working with third parties, working together with third parties. So it's training, it's the ethics, and it's the human oversight element that can't be forgotten.
We talked earlier, Martha, about how we want to bridge that gap between the haves and the have-nots, and Gcash is actually doing that. Started as a fintech company, now it is a super app. Your platform allows the unbanked to bank. They have access to a lot of different services. They're able to invest, not just in stocks, now in bonds. Take us through the thinking and how you've managed to bridge that gap.
Haslinda, I'm quite impressed by your knowledge about Gcash. And to Mr. Cheng's point earlier about helping humans flourish, we actually utilize a lot of AI to help address the underserved. And as you know, before pandemic, we were highly unbanked. Only 29% were banked. But because of the adoption of fintech in the Philippines, the bank rate has now gone up to 65%. And those with financial access is even higher. It's around 80 to 90% now. So that's, and Gcash has worked towards using tech, data, and customer centricity to address societal issues like financial inclusion. So at the heart of what we do really is financial inclusion, and a big part of that is allowing access to credit for people who need it the most. 57% of our population don't have documents. And so the big problem there is the underserved are the ones that are actually victims of high interest rates, of usurious interest rates and loan sharks. So how do we address that? We use AI to score them. So those who use our app with payments, everyday transactions, we're able to score them. And rather than them presenting collaterals, we use their digital behavior for them to build their trust score, and they have a credit score that's produced by Gcash within our app. And now more and more people, millions, have access to credit without having to present any documents or collateral. And with that, we've been able to release more than $3 billion of loans to more than 7 million Filipinos. But unlike the banks, we don't release like the big loans. It's more for everyday loans, which the underserved or the lower eco segment really needs. We offer as low as $2 loans, which is practically what the lower eco segment needs to bridge their budget gap for the week. That's how they need it. So it's small ticket loans. At the same time, we use AI for eKYC. So to start with anything is with financial access is to get you on board, right? And in the past, it's so hard to apply for a bank account because you need all the documents. And in a country challenged like Philippines, we were able to give them proper identity and proper onboarding through the use of AI, so that all they need to do is a face selfie and some ID, and we process that, and we give them access to digital financial tools, right? And eventually, through their use of payments and everyday transactions, we're able to graduate them to financial services. And that's where bonds, stocks, even crypto, yes, and international funds come from. Like, we are able to offer access to international funds for as low as $1. And the way we market it is, rather than buying a milk tea, put that $1 and buy it with and get your funds, right? And that way you learn to save for the future. So that's how we've been addressing societal problems through technology. That's why we agree that there's work to be done in governance, ethics when it comes to AI, but also there's a lot of good that can be done if you use it right.
So it's been a game changer in the Philippines. It's been a game changer also in China. Newsoft, it is a software company. It's been involved in the transformation of a lot of industries within the country. And we're talking about China, where it is positioning itself as a cutting-edge country. Talk to us about how far-reaching it's been for China and what kind of game-changing aspects it's done to the country.
Yeah, actually, AI has been very quickly adopted in the country. So if you look into the data, not only the individual consumers are eager to use AI, very curious to embrace the AI applications, but also the industry and enterprises. If we look into the investigation, more than 85% of the enterprises in China has been accelerate the investment in AI and using AI as their daily operations. So that will significant, upgrading the industrial and also reduce the operation cost, increase the performance. And not only that, the company like Newsoft, we are helping the industry to use AI in the bad way. As you mentioned, AI may create some inequality, but we are using AI to, to fix the problem of equality. In China, the population is very, very big. And also the geographically-wise, the country is so big. The problem, one of the most serious problems in China is the imbalance of the medical resources. The best doctors are only in the Tier 1 city, like Beijing, Shanghai, but the citizens in that Tier 1 city only stands for like 5-6% of the total population. How about the people in the Tier 2 city in the rural area? We digitalize the physicians' methodology of the treatment into algorithm and helping using internet, using AI algorithms to helping the rural area and Tier 2, Tier 3 cities physicians to have a better treatment. For instance, like COPD, which is the chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. This disease is not so famous, for individuals, for peoples, but it's ranked as the the third leading death disease in China. More than 100 million populations have that kind of disease. And it's called hidden killer because in the very earlier stage, it's very difficult to diagnose that disease through the image, the CT image. Most of the physicians maybe ignore that. But when the physicians enter into the later stage, it will cause a very high percentage of death. So we work together with Zhong Nanshan, which is the top physician in China in that area, and use their methodology into algorithm. And now has been, using in hundreds of hospitals in China, in, different cities, and helping more than tens of thousands of cases in China. It's really saving lives.
We talked earlier about how the workforce needs to be upskilled, and we're talking about technology that keeps evolving. How do we approach upskilling of the workforce? Mr. Pichai, Mr. Gan.
Yeah. So first of all, we like, for Thailand, we like to encourage DeFi, as His Excellency said. We believe like each country, whoever ready, should do it first. Maybe in ASEAN there are 10 countries, right? So there are probably like 4, 5, or 6 countries that are ready for the DeFi. So we should start it first. In fact, I told this afternoon, we have a session on this matter, including many people. I think they're one from Philippines, and then one from Cambodia, and from Malaysia. And I said that we should start, and let's set a date so that we can start the DIFA, because it can encourage the flow between ASEAN countries. So I said that for me to pick the date, I said, hey, October 29. You know why? It's my birthday. Because it's my birthday. But seriously, I think we need to set a date in order for every country to expedite it. Whoever ready, join first. Who are not ready, we encourage them to join later. That's the conceptual. And for Thailand, we also would like to position ourselves as a data center embassy. The country that not so sure about their security, like Middle East or some in South Asia, maybe they may want to store the data in Thailand. We would be happy to do that, because good thing about Thailand is everybody loves Thailand. We can, China like Thailand, America like India loves Thailand, Israel loves Thailand, Middle East
Singapore also
Thailand.
loves Thailand.
Exactly. Sure. That's our plan. So we try to be like Switzerland of Asia, of ASEAN. So that's the way. But we have more space, and we can create more of the renewable energy here. And like I say, we can create the thing right away, because we have excess of the electricity, which is very important, for everything. And at this moment, Thailand also become a biggest producer of PCB in the very near future. We have so huge of the printed circuit board coming to Thailand, and one of I went to Peru, and then the minister of Taiwan, he come and say, hey, you know what? You will be the biggest producer of PCB, because everything flow in Thailand. Because in China, they're going to face with American. So they chief all, and even Hewlett-Packard chief all operation in Thailand now. So we are kind of, getting all the benefit. And when PCB coming in, there's a lot of semiconductor will follow. So that's why we're planning high. But as I'm not a technical guy on AI. I have to admit the fact. But as a administrator, we try to facilitate and see how it's going to be, and how we can cooperate with every country. In fact, we have the idea of invite our ASEAN to using Thailand as a sharing thing. Because the more data you have, the more AI is more efficient. So if you can store something, please come to Thailand. We'll be glad to facilitate you. And that's what we do best.
Minister Gan, when you talk about upskilling, it's also about providing the incentives for companies, for SMEs, to upskill their workers.
Absolutely. I think from Singapore's point of view, we're always focused on productivity. And upskilling is part of the course. We do that all the time, all year round. And in fact, particularly for AI, and we actually have rolled out what we call industrial transformation maps, ITMs, for different sectors of industries, because different sectors of industries have different needs and different requirements and different resources. So we develop ITMs for different sectors of industry. The ITM is a general industry transformation, but within the ITM, they have manpower transformation plans. And part of the plan will include the AI transformation. So this is an area where we want to encourage our work with the companies to introduce transformation for their manpower needs. AI is one aspect of it. Together with the decarbonization and so on, you really need to reskill your workers regularly, in fact, all the time, so that they can catch up with the technology, with the skills that are needed for the future. That's why we also have a Skills Future scheme to help support and give subsidy and incentives for training. So you're right that we focus a lot on skills upgrading. We invest a lot on skills upgrading. We incentivize the companies and the individual workers to go for training. I think this is a key in this transformation journey.
Upskilling is one issue, regulation is another. And it does seem like countries have different approaches to regulation? I know in terms of Singapore, it's pretty relaxed. No fixed regulation. Ministries are able to come up with their own regulations, so they remain nimble.
I must correct that.
Okay. I stand corrected. Do clarify.
Actually, we have, for AI particularly, we have developed quite an elaborate code of conduct for how we should develop AI, how we should deploy AI in an ethical way. So I think we are quite serious about it, and we have collaboration with many countries in developing this code of conduct, code of guidance. And but it is also important for us to understand that the technology is evolving. So we have this concept called sandbox. The idea of a sandbox is to allow experimentation of the new application, new technology, but we have a very light touch in terms of regulation because we really don't know how to regulate it before the technology is mature. But we keep a very close watch on the development of the technology within the sandbox. So in a way, we allow them flexibility to evolve. But at the same time, we keep a very close watch on the development to make sure that they are within the guidelines. So I think, just to correct the impression that
to
we
stay
do have
nimble though, right?
Nimble, flexible, but at the same time, we are very careful in providing guidance and guardrails to make sure they are doing the right way.
Milton, your thoughts on how it should be regulated or not?
Yeah, I think certainly there needs to be a balance between regulation and facilitation. And, you know, when you look across the world, there are different models. You know, there's some light touch or super light touch in light of some things that happened yesterday, no touch in some countries. There are those which provide, you know, guardrails, parameters. And of course, that further down the other side of the spectrum, you have more prescriptive, I guess, you know, like China being one where the rules are set so people are clear and there's this horizontal regulation very clearly. And then the EU is somewhere in between. I think ultimately each population, each government needs to decide what suits its objectives and its purposes. What I would say is that the opportunity for Asia, for ASEAN in particular, is still quite fragmented. You know, Singapore's got its way, Thailand has its way, and others. And ASEAN as a region can, you know, if there's coordination, hopefully under the DEFA, can really bring a lot of it together because different countries within ASEAN bring different things. You are the storage center, you are the, you know, skilled services center, and so on and so forth. If ASEAN, through the DEFA, augmenting various other multilateral agreements, can bring that all together, I think there's a huge opportunity for it to be a leader going into the intelligent age.
You've touched on Southeast Asia, bring in China, because China has quite an established AI industry. I mean, how do you compare how it approaches regulation, what's worked to encourage the industry?
Oh, I think, I mean, you mentioned at the outset, Haslinda, about, you know, Singapore being near the top of the charts. China is also there because when you look at what they call sort of AI vibrancy, there are a number of factors. The ecosystem, you know, which is very developed in China, the public take-up, but also the government support, the types of policies that you have. And China is also near the top of the charts. US, of course, is the most mature of the markets. It's right at the top, but China, Singapore are there because the R&D, the research output in China is amazing, it's excellent. The proliferation of the commercial applications in China is just amazing too. But also very critically, the government support for AI initiatives is really a big driver of that. We see that in Singapore as well. So I think there's a lot to be gained. I mentioned ASEAN, but actually really is all of Asia. I was at a lunch today where Minister Maris, yeah, he was speaking as well. And he talked about the upstream, mainstream, and downstream. And when you look at Asia as a whole, there's 2 billion people you could be looking at who could be end users of AI and AI different, you know, output and technologies. So what we do in here, you know, while ASEAN will play its part, also is to look at the bigger Asia picture with a huge population at its disposal.
I want to take a look at the next frontier of AI. I mean, Martha started as a fintech and, your services have expanded. When you take a look at perhaps a 5-year time frame, how do you see AI further, bridging the divide between the rich and poor, the have and the have-nots?
A big part that AI can provide is personalization, so that the issues that we see in each segment are very different, right? It's different for young versus the aging ones, or the rich and the poor, right? They have different needs. And AI would help us to tailor fit those solutions for them. In the same way that AI would also help us further earn the trust of our customers and keep our platform secure. So what we've been doing is we've been working also with other global institutions to really advance AI, not just for our customers, but even internally. So enterprise solutions enabled by AI. An example of what we are seeing is in terms of collection efficiencies. So as we get to the millions of customers that we need to reach, we need to find a way to be more efficient, right? So AI is now helping us get that to enable and to support, reinforce our collectors so that we can do more. And by doing that, people get reminded, because we know that people would want to pay, but they just need to get reminded, right? So that's where AI comes from. AI gets applied. So it's a lot of collaborating with existing human resources. Employees won't be eliminated, definitely. But the way we see it is further making more intelligent the services that we offer. A big part also is in international. There are 10 to 12 million Filipinos globally. How do we reach them? By just using traditional ways. So we would need AI, because each country, again, would have their own regulations, would have their own unique situations that we need to deal with. So AI would further help us on that, from machine learning, deep learning, to LLMs as well. So those things would help us make our operations more efficient so we can do more, reach more, and be more personalized in dealing with our customers.
Angela, in China, how do you see AI perhaps being implemented, maybe in fields like healthcare?
Yes, so I just mentioned about the field of healthcare. And also, for the previous topic about the reskilling of the people, of the laborers. Actually, people are talking about AI may destroy a lot of jobs. But basically, if you read the data, especially the new report by World Economic Forum, even consider the displacement of the laborers in the next 5 years, still, there are around 79 million of the new jobs being created, even consider the displacement. And also, especially in China, I think another serious social problems in China is the aging society. Compared with, Singapore, Thailand, we are, very fast speed into the aging society. Today, there are more than around 600 million populations are elder than 65 age in China. And in the next decade, just 10 years later, the number will grow to around 30%. So if we're talking about the reskilling of the laborers, not only thinking about the worker, but also thinking about how about these senior peoples. Don't let them to be left behind because of the AI wave. So we need to let them to learn about AI. But the good thing is, one of the chance of AI is the AI agent. They definitely help the senior people to communicate with the machine, which is, very disruptive for the human-machine interfaces and be beneficial for the aging people. And not only that, I just mentioned Newsoft, we are not only a software company, we also run private universities, 3 universities. Before, it's more for younger people, IT-related majors. Now we just established a new school under our university called Phoenix School. It's for aging people. They, come into our school to learn AI. They use AI to create paintings, very beautiful. And also, they using AI to tell their own stories, the memoirs, very touching, when you read all these articles read by them. Because before, maybe they cannot do that, but using AI, they can. So that's the way I think you're helping all the people in the society to catching up with AI and helping people to use that technology. That's the social responsibility for the companies like Newsoft.
Suffice to say that there's immense potential in AI, and if you take a look at a, 5-10 year time frame, AI has the potential to provide a new growth model for countries like Singapore, for Thailand. How are you looking at it? I mean, could AI help countries in Asia leapfrog because we're known to be fast followers? Can we be global leaders? How do you see that playing out, Minister Gan?
Well, let me say that it's not geographically confined to Asia. I think it depends on how fast you are prepared to embrace AI and how fast you are able to manage, or how well you are able to manage the transition. So I can understand that there will be a lot of new jobs created in the field of AI, digitalization, data storage, and even new energy. But it's important to understand that these require new skills that the workers of today may not have. So training and reskilling, as you mentioned, is very critical to make sure that the transition is a successful one. So in this process, some may be affected, some may actually benefit from it. So the key is how can I make sure that I minimize the impact on those may be adversely affected so that all of us can progress in an inclusive way. So all can benefit from AI. So I can imagine that in time to come, even training can be AI-based so that you tailor and customize the training needs specifically to the worker. Because everyone learns differently and everyone has different skill sets. So AI with data will be able to allow you to customize. I think the key is the customization, personalization. So if you can customize training to individual workers, I think it will be very effective. And I think this will help the transition. But it's still a long way to go. I think the potential is still enormous. The key is whether or not countries can come together and work together and to fully take advantage of the potential of AI, that what AI can bring to us. If countries work on their own, I think it will be much slower. And that's why within ASEAN, we are very keen to come together to look at digitalization, to see how AI can help us leapfrog. But I'm quite sure that ASEAN is not the only region. Many other countries, many regions are also looking at how they can leverage on AI to leapfrog ahead of others. So it's a competition among all of us, but I hope that it's a positive competition. That all of us,
collaboration at the same time.
That's right, and cooperation and collaboration and sharing of experience and knowledge so that we can all progress together in an inclusive way.
It's quite amazing when you think about it. I mean, if Gcash is able to help its people, we're talking about a developing economy to go cashless, cardless. It's kind of high-tech, it's kind of cool, right? I mean, if you take a look at Thailand's perspective, Thailand's context, in terms of a new growth model, perhaps the digital economy is going to drive it further in the future versus even like sectors like tourism.
Yeah. So, referring to Mr. Gan about the upskill, for Thailand, we are not quite much of the engineer. We don't have much, but we will open for the smart people to come to Thailand. Digital nomad is our policy. We want to welcome all the smart people out there. Please come to Thailand. The truth is, there's so many digital nomads come to Thailand each year because, according to the information that we gather, digital nomad, they say that the capital is in Estonia, because Estonia developed digital for a long time. But they say that digital heaven is in Bangkok, in Thailand. Seriously. They said, because we have shopping, we have food, we have sea, we have sand, we have mountain, we have...
Endurance.
And then our 5G and broadband are state of the art. I truly believe, like in Thailand, all the internet, kind of, communication in Thailand, and we're going to establish the low orbit satellite soon. So we are quite ready for all the, digital nomads. So we're looking forward to that. And also talk about healthcare. in Thailand, we are a medical hub, as you know. So we try to be AI on the healthcare also. We're going to gather all information, trying to create our necessity for the healthcare in the future. That's our policy. So I truly believe like leapfrog is what we're looking for. I think who have the most data will rule in this game, right? Because it's important to have the most data. AI won't be efficient if you don't have enough data. So if you can accumulate the most data, you can translate into more AI, then you can leapfrog all the. So, and by the way, like I say, we would like to join with all the ASEAN countries in order to create this. Hopefully that we can bring Singapore along because they have all the smart people there.
If I could just, one of the things though, Minister Pichai, if whichever country contains the data, this essentially, most of what AI will support is borderless. So one of the things that when we did a survey in terms of business risks, and people are very concerned about cybersecurity risks, data protection, data privacy risk, all the way up and down the supply chain. So I think back to the point we talked about in terms of having coordinated regional approach, one of the things that will help ASEAN do that is if you have accepting who is going to be doing what within the region, a coordinated set of rules that's consistent, that supports business to thrive and work efficiently, but also gives the assurance that data privacy concerns and all that are met, cybersecurity is looked after, and all these as well. So that's where the bringing together of the regulatory framework will be quite important.
To wrap it up, I just want to bring in Angela and Martha. We talk about leapfrogging. What would help? What catalysts, what incentives, what would help Asia, ASEAN leapfrog?
Well, I think the discussions around collaboration, that would really help. We've seen some good starts to that. Example, the ability to be interoperable in payments. That's a good start because that means the data is also being protected. At the same time, there's discussion around it. So collaboration would help leapfrog. But also, going more basic would be the connectivity. Nothing will, I mean, we can't go forward if the connectivity is not equal among all the countries in the region. But what I am very hopeful and excited about is actually the culture in Asia, the buzz, the energy and the agility of the people here. We're very open and agile in terms of the new things. We're excited to adapt, and we adapt quickly. We try, and if we fall, we get up and try it again. I see that in the different countries in Southeast Asia, in Asia. So I think that cultural mindset, at the same time, collaboration, that would help leapfrog us.
Yeah, I agree with that. So, the application itself, it's really help the fusion of the AI technology with the industry demand, with the individual's demand. And also because of that, that will accelerate the integration of algorithm and helping the AI to grow better. And of course, working together from the private sector with the government will helping all these kind of regulations in place, the privacy, data protection, all that kind of in place. I believe that will help the Asia to leapfrog in a safer way.
On a very optimistic note, after the conversation, Martha, Milton, Minister Gan, Angela, Minister Pichai, thank you so much for your insights today.
Thank you.
And thank you all for joining us.